Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us for today's live training session on Driver's Alert's 1-800-HOW AM I DRIVING driver observation program. We have 1 hour scheduled, for this session, but I don't think we will take the entire time block. For those of you who have attended one of our past webinars, you will probably notice a different branding scheme. Don't worry, this is still Driver's Alert, but I would like to draw your attention very briefly to the LMS Courses logo. A couple of years ago, we began building e-learning content in-house. It's really born out of our corrective action approach to fleet safety, which is one of the key differentiators here at Driver's Alert. We don't just identify and document unsafe behavior, we help you do something about it before it leads to accidents and injuries. So I will talk a little bit more about our e-learning initiative, a couple of slides, but here I wanted to bring attention to Driver's Alert's continued evolution to meet customer needs. Quickly, just to put a name to a face, I'm Rich Sordahl. I'm responsible for marketing here at Driver's Alert. And to talk a little bit about who we are, our resume, we have more than 1,500 clients, 350,000 plus vehicles currently under contract, and that translates into literally millions of documented unsafe driving events shared with our clients since our inception in 1989. We're also a trusted partner for more than 100 companies in the insurance industry. The overall theme of our 29 years of existence is definitely innovation. We have 4 key products in our product portfolio. Of course, we're most well known for our 1-800-HOW's My Driving program, which started the company off in 1989. And over the years, we were responsible for many firsts, including the first to offer high visibility reflective decals for night viewing, the first to assign unique vehicle IDs, and the first to record motorist calls and send them to clients so managers can hear the concerned motorists themselves. And finally, the first to integrate incident-specific online training, which we will talk a little bit about today. The second product in our portfolio is the Motor Vehicle Records Service, which is a one-source, streamlined administration process which offers standardized scoring so that you're able to take MVRs from different states and really compare them in a similar standardized scoring system across states, looking at different citation, different types of citations, violations, things of that nature. And so our customers use our MVRs for new hire vetting, annual reviews, random spot checks, and on and on. The third bullet here, closed loop corrective action process, although it's not a standalone product, it's one of our unique differentiators that we're known for. We've taken our e-learning and we use that as a way to close the loop and correct unsafe behavior. So instead of just identifying and documenting the unsafe behavior, we help our clients do something about it before it leads to accidents and injuries. The fourth bullet here is our telematics solution. We use Geotab. It's the industry leader, the most tested technology on the market today. We've taken a safety application, we've overlaid that on the telematics solution. We do this because we believe that the driver is really the biggest variable when it comes to fleet safety, and we think through all of the years of our use of this service, we can see that those driver behaviors are definitely precursors to accidents. So we want to help you identify those trends before they lead to costly accidents and injuries. And finally, the fifth bullet here, which you'll hear a little bit about today, our next generation e-learning, it's all built here in-house. It is fresh, original content. It's HTML5 based. There's no more Flash compatibility issues. And it's really focused content, meaning it doesn't waste the employee's time. All in all, we have about 150 courses right now. Topics run from driver and workplace safety to health and wellness and HR leadership development. And now, for our added convenience, our e-learning is available on the smartphone, and you'll hear just a little teaser about that today. So really, why are we here? It's really only 2 reasons. The theme throughout today's presentation that Jeff will be giving in his training of how to use the product is really the hidden value that's in the How's My Driving product. I mean, on the surface, the How's My Driving program appears to be very straightforward, and that's great. We want it to be user-friendly. We want it to be simplified, easy to use on the surface, the front end. But behind the scenes, there's a lot taking place to get you that actionable information that helps you protect people, assets, and profit margins. And we want to help really give you a better understanding of what that is and how to better utilize it, which brings us to the second point. really how to help you get more out of this program. So what we're going to cover today, Jeff will be talking about the How Am I Driving process, key program statistics, and as I mentioned, really revealing the hidden value throughout this training session. And then he will discuss the anatomy of a call report, how to respond to an incident, and have a conversation with an employee, and then discuss our corrective action training and our e-learning initiative. Finally, we will cover the question session, and today, just in the interest of time, you can use the online chat feature that you see on your screen throughout the presentation, but we won't actually be answering questions during the presentation. We'll be responding to your questions with a personal note via email, and so I ask that you give us just about 24 hours for a response. And then in the end, we will announce a winner of the Starbucks gift card. So with all that said, I will introduce Jeff Maiden. Jeff has been with Drivers Alert now for several years. In all, he's been helping fleet and safety managers get the most out of their How's My Driving programs for the past 10 years. Jeff serves as our resident expert on all things related to How's My Driving. Having personally worked with hundreds of companies, he understands firsthand what it takes to implement How's My Driving solutions that minimize accidents and injuries and save you money. Jeff's recognized expertise in fleet safety has made him a sought-after presenter at industry events. Most important, Jeff possesses an unyielding commitment to help all companies reach a goal of zero accidents. And now, I will turn it over to Jeff Maiden. Jeff?
Hey, thank you, Rich, and good morning to everybody. Let me just show my screen here for you real quick. This is Jeff Maiden. Just want to thank everybody for joining our discussion today on how to maximize the benefits of the How's My Driving program, and we're very excited about the information we're going to be able to share with each one of you today. For almost 30 years now, the Drivers Alert How's My Driving program has played an integral part for thousands of organizations' fleet safety programs. And even with all the technological advancements in fleet safety, there still is no substitution to what our own eyes visually witness day in and day out. Our five-step approach has stood the test of time and continues to provide the greatest dollar-for-dollar return on investment for our valued partners and the safety professionals who utilize the program. So whether you're a new client to Drivers Alert or one of our decades-old partners, this session is designed to help you gain more knowledge and insight into the steps you can take towards promoting a zero-accident safety culture. So just wanted to share with you some industry statistics. These are questions we get a lot from our valued partners, so I kind of like to lay a foundation for you. And why do we do this? So first and foremost, 20% of fleet vehicles will get in an accident each year. We think that's an unacceptable number, and we've taken great stride and approach to help you towards a zero accident approach. With this program, what's important for you, because we get the question all the time of, is this information accurate? My driver says they didn't do it. Well, the statistics don't lie. If you look at our entire book of business of over close to 30 years now, hundreds of thousands of vehicles, what you can expect is about 10% of your fleet drivers will receive one How's My Driving call in any given year. And you certainly want to acknowledge that and discuss it with them and document it. But it's always, so with that in mind, 80% of your drivers never receive a negative call on the program. But it's always that other 10% of the fleet drivers within an organization that will receive 2 or more calls per year. And when you keep that in mind and you're sitting down and you're discussing this with the individuals and they're telling you, it wasn't me, I didn't do it, that's a really important statistic to share with them because, if you can say 80% of your peers, Jeff, have never gotten a negative call and you've gotten 4 this year, there's clearly something that you're doing that's drawing that negative attention to yourself and the company as a whole. And we want to step in and get that under control so that you're not putting yourself in harm's way. The other one that's really interesting from the statistical analysis we've done is drivers who have 3 or more How's My Driving calls in a year are 90% more likely to get in an accident. That's a staggering figure. and we can pinpoint, show you who are those drivers so that you can address it with them in what we like to call the smoke phase and get that under control before you have another costly accident and are looking around the room going, why didn't we see this coming? Now, one of the other things that we'll talk about today that really makes this program effective is how quickly you take action with these individuals. And best practices have shown that you want as near real-time engagement as you can, but definitely no less than 24 to 48 hours. Obviously, the sooner you can sit down and address these situations with drivers, the more likely they're going to remember the event and the greater impact that you're going to have for them as well. And then another interesting statistic, again, we believe that, drivers want to do the right things, but they're also looking at you for leadership and guidance and setting policies and procedures and expectations. And when we've looked at clients that, for one reason or another, maybe have decided to leave the organization, and we've looked at what their call volume is over the next 30 days as they're discontinuing service, on average, they've seen a 60% increase in calls. So that alone tells you that drivers want that leadership, that engagement with them. And when they're not being watched, they're free rein to do whatever they want. The other statistics I don't have up on here, though, but it's a question we get very commonly, is just setting expectations for you as to how manageable this is and the types of call volumes you could experience. On average, we see probably anywhere from 4 to 5 calls per 100 vehicles per month. So if you've got a fleet of 1,000 people, you on average could expect to probably have 40 to 50 events that we're going to fulfill, document, and send you to take action on. All right, so I think the first step that's important for any of the clients is, how do you roll this out? This program is really predicated on 3 things: creating an awareness, engagement with the drivers, and having open lines of communication with them as well. So having set policies and procedures and setting expectations for the drivers is really a critical first step that you should take, and how you introduce this to the drivers as well, because they are absolutely your #1 most valuable asset, and they need to know their importance to your organization. But equally, they need to understand that they're an ambassador of your brand, and how they drive those vehicles around every day with your hard-earned, time-earned company reputation is equally important. So it's really important that when you set up this program, that one of the first lines of communications are with those drivers. Again, the role that they play in the success of your company, and why are you doing this program as a company? That in no way, shape, or form is this meant to get everybody in trouble. We certainly don't want you to terminate all your employees. This is an invaluable resource to understand which drivers might be having deficiencies and what those deficiencies are, and what steps you want to take as an organization to address them. Case in point, a lot of the people on the call today, they may be electricians, they may be plumbers, they may be cable installers, any number of industries that we work in where you did not hire them for their driving related abilities, yet that's where they spend probably 50% of their time getting to the job site for what you did hire them for. And I'm sure you go through great lengths and strides to properly train them on those core job responsibilities, but oftentimes the driver side of it gets ignored, and the reality is that's probably the biggest risk that they encounter day in and day out, and that's why we are such a valuable partner to the organizations in the industry. So again, I'm going to kind of pause as we go through this a little bit, because I hope everybody takes notes, and I hope each person has an opportunity to walk away gaining more knowledge and insight how to make the program better for yourselves. So when we talk about how's my driving events, there's over 20-some criteria that we collect information and provide back to you. Now, most of you are probably very familiar and utilize the program solely from the idea of preventing accidents. So things such as speeding events, distracted driving, tailgating, unsafe lane change, failure to stop. But what a lot of clients may not realize is all the other value that we're bringing to the table for you as well. illegal parking situations. I can't tell you how many thousands of calls a year that we field for our clients that we can alert them that your vehicle is about to be towed. And while that may not be of concern for a motor vehicle accident, it certainly has financial impact for you as an organization. You have downtime. It's hurting your brand. You know, you're parked illegally or you're blocking someone's driveway. So the fact that we can personally call you and alert you to a towing situation and prevent the vehicle being off the road, which is lost revenue for you, that's tremendously valuable for the clients that we get to work with. Another one that I like to point out too is faulty equipment. Again, these are our eyes on vehicles every day. And so we field thousands of calls that might be related to brake lights aren't working, or maybe the technician's rear doors were left open, or they have a flat tire, or materials falling out the back of the vehicle. Again, these are really valuable touch points that we can provide to you that you may not have otherwise ever known. The other one too I'd point in there is probably text, talk, cell phone use. Obviously, we get a lot of calls where people witness the driver being distracted because they're on a cell phone. Not only is that as a risk for vehicle accidents, but in most states anymore, and it's constantly gaining traction, you know, most states have gone to a hands-free cell phone policy, or you have to pull over. So again, these are other areas that I wanted to make you uniquely aware of what we can do for your organizations. Now, one last one that I want to focus on here for you is compliments as well. On average, about 10 to 15% of the calls that we field for our clients are actually complimentary in nature, and there's so much value in that. You know, it's pretty easy for someone to probably pick up the phone when you've angered them, but for somebody to proactively call us up and say, I just wanted to let you know what a great job your driver did today. He was courteous, or he helped me here, or he was maintaining, following clearance distance of the vehicle in front of him. Too many companies ignore the power of what a complimentary call can do. And so I wanted to focus on that for you a moment. If you don't already have so, Driver's Alert will provide you with the Superior Performance Award to specifically acknowledge that driver when they receive one of those complimentary calls. And again, taking you back to when I talked about drivers' first impression and alleviating their concerns of, boy, I'm going to get in trouble. This goes such a long way in promoting the overall effectiveness of this program. When you pat them on the back and acknowledge their superior performance and their value to an organization, and I would strongly encourage that you probably do that maybe at your next safety meeting in front of their peers, because then that inevitably creates that level of competition to where your other drivers equally want to be recognized, and now you're really having a profound effect on the overall culture of your organization. All right, so I just want to set a little bit of a foundation because I think that is really important for everybody. Policies, procedures, how to roll this out to the drivers, creating those open lines of communication, some of the key industry statistics as to why do we do this program and the value it represents for you. But now we really want to get into, what is a call report when it's sent to you? What's the anatomy of it? What are you reading? What action are you going to take on it? So when we look at this, this is a typical example of what your supervisors are receiving once we have fielded a call. It's gone through our Q&A process, we've vetted it, we've got accurate information, now we're sending it out to you so that you can address the situation. The things that I want to highlight, one, we're going to document which decal number was provided to us, and we're going to cross-reference that to the license plate number, vehicle number, or the year, make, model of the vehicle that you have provided to us on your online manifest. That is a really important talking point as well as to why we require you to do that and why we encourage you to constantly keep that updated. Because this is step one. Do we have the right vehicle? Is it going to the right location for you? Is it going to the right supervisor? Can you quickly and accurately identify who the driver was of that vehicle? So when we are always asking you to update your vehicle manifest, it's certainly not because we were trying to create more work for you. It's so that we can streamline the process and get you on the right path right out of the gate. So, as a supervisor, you certainly want to look at decal, make sure we have the right vehicle so that you're going to know who the driver was responsible for this action. Equally, we want to let you know what day this event occurred and what time this event occurred, and that is time stamped based on your time zone and where the event took place. Okay? You can see that we provide the caller's information, who the caller was and their phone number, and we actually quantify that that's a working number before sending it out to you. That gives you the opportunity, if nothing else, to call them back and thank them for the information, or if you maybe want to derive additional details above and beyond what was provided to us. And I really like that we do that as well, because I think that lends a lot of credibility and authenticity to the nature of the reports that we're providing to you. Now, we're going to put into text print format here what the nature of the call was and what that caller witnessed your vehicle doing and where this vehicle was at the time. And if applicable, we try to paint a picture for you so that you know what were the weather conditions, what were the traffic conditions. That way you can visualize what was the scenario, what direction was my vehicle heading, and what prompted this incident to occur in the first place. Okay? Now, also with that, as Rich mentioned earlier, one of the features that our clients value and like most is that we attach the live audio call for you. On every one of these email reports that you receive, you've got the icon to listen to that call. You can hear from second one when we pick up the call, the qualifying questions we're asking on your behalf, the nature and details of what the caller is describing to us, and also one of the most important factors, the emotion behind the caller. You know, when you're just reading it in simple text format, a lot of that emotion is lost in translation. But when you can hear the emotion behind the caller and your drivers understand that they created that reaction and they can internalize it and personalize it as if it was them, and if somebody had done that to them or their wife or husband or child or family member, it makes them take much greater accountability of their actions. Okay, the other thing that I want to point out for you, because it's very blazing here and a lot of clients don't know what this means, is under the incident summary where this was a failure to stop and speeding violation and points are assigned, okay? The point scale system, we can either just use the driver's alert recommended point value system, or we can input your own value. And that's very important to you because as we look at some reports and risk analysis later, where we're tying a number to a driver, now it has true meaning and relevance to you because you know as an organization what you set those parameters and expectations up to be and what it would take to achieve that level. And that's going to go a long way in you developing your escalation process. What are we going to do on call 1? What is our course of action for call 2? Course of action for call 3. This is all available through the Driver's Alert web portal, but any of the things that we'll cover today, any of your sales representatives or our customer support team would be more than happy to walk back through and help you with that as well. All right, so I'm going to go back and forth a lot of times right back to the incident call just so that you know before I show a report, what are you going to click on to access that? And everything that we're reviewing right now can be achieved from the initial email that is sent out to you. So what we want to take a look at here is now the response form. So you as a supervisor have received this report. You've gone through the details, you validated what vehicle it is, you know who the driver responsible was, and you have an understanding of what took place. That now gives you the opportunity to sit down with that employee and have clear goals as to what do you want to achieve with this? What is the nature of that conversation going to look like essentially? You can do that from this email by clicking right here on the response form. It'll take you to the response form, And what's important for you when engaging with these drivers is, again, you want to take as immediate and timely action with them as possible so it's still fresh in their mind. And you want to make it a two-way conversation. This is never about placing blame. You certainly want to sit down with the driver, remind them of your policies and procedures, their commitment to safety, and let them listen to the live audio call themselves, and then ask them for their side of the story. More times than not, you will find they will agree with it. If they don't, that's fine. We're going to give them the opportunity to document it. But this is a critical step for you in taking timely action, making it proactive, open dialogue, open lines of communication, reviewing the facts, and then documenting what you did about this event. So, kind of to walk you through this. One, it's really important that you denote and identify who the driver was for this specific event. Each one of these steps was specifically designed to then tie into a whole bunch of online risk reporting tools that I'm going to be able to share with you today. And that's why I can't emphasize enough that each one of these steps is very critical in your overall success of the program. So you're going to want to identify who the driver was, and then what action did you take as an organization. And if you're new to Driver's Alert or you haven't been in here to look at this recently, you'll see we've added several new fields to select, okay? Again, this is where you can really develop your escalation process so that everybody is on the same page within the company as to how do we address a first event, a second event, a third event, and subsequent events. It could be everything from assigning additional training to verbal warnings to, I love the driver recognition ones that we talked about where you give them a pat on the back for doing a great job, to maybe you want to do a supervisor ride-along, or there's a leadership review, corporate field safety ride-along. Any number of things is designed to help you know where are we at in the process of addressing the situation so that these events don't continue to occur again. Now, I'll just leave it there for a moment so you can visually see that. Additionally, as the supervisor who's sitting down with the driver, they can type in the action comments and any additional manager's comments. And as I referenced earlier, it's always important to get the driver's side of the story and their response to it as well, and any driver comments. The supervisor who's holding this session with the employee will input his or her name so that you have documentation of who held this event and when did it take place. And then it's as simple as clicking save right here at the bottom of the page. And that's what goes back to Driver's Alert that then populates a number of risk assessment reports that we're going to be able to review together today. So again, I want to make sure we take our time on this because the program is not about putting a decal on the back of your vehicle. It's not about all the steps that we go through to provide you accurate, intelligent information. The whole goal of this program is to open those lines of communication that when an event does occur, you have the opportunity to sit down and address it with your valued employees. All right, moving forward here. Equally, when you're filling out the response form, one of the most important aspects is to assign the corrective action training to the employee. What a great concept. Instead of just sitting down saying, Jeff, quit doing this, you keep doing this. Well, if I continue to make the same mistakes, I'm telling you, I need help in you showing me what I should be doing right. And that's exactly why we have these corrective action training courses in here for you to take advantage of. So now it's not just don't do it. Okay, you're showing me you're having trouble with speeding or any of the other topics. Let me educate you on the hazards of that and how to navigate those situations properly so that you don't continue to put yourselves in harm's way. So again, from the initial email that's sent to you, you'll click on this online training link here. What that will do is take you into the Corrective Action Training Center. And we've got 6 core courses that are designed to address at-risk driving behavior. Those topics include distracted driving, changing lanes, failure to yield, speeding, stop signs and signals, and tailgating awareness. Okay? Now, we selected those 6 for 2 very distinct reasons. One, those are the 6 leading indicators that you can review, that are leading indicators, of being involved in a motor vehicle accident. The other reason is those typically probably make up about 70% of the calls that we're going to field on your behalf. So a lot of clients still don't know that that's accessible to them or how to access it. That's why we wanted to show it to you and what the importance of that is when you can properly educate an employee versus just telling them, please quit doing that event. Now, above and beyond that, we just added 2 brand new courses to this for you, and we're really excited about that. One is pre-trip inspection, okay? Obviously, like I talked earlier about faulty equipment type reports. Well, it's important to make sure the vehicle is in proper working condition and they have a safe driving environment from the vehicle before they go out there and do their job. So we've included the pre-trip inspection course for you. The other one that we've added for you is called Driving Your Brand. Again, I referenced earlier, how important your brand image is and how the employees are ambassadors of that brand to you. So we want to educate them on that very topic so that they take ownership of their actions. And when they're out there working, they're not working as if they're an employee. They're working as if they're the owner of that company for you. And I think that carries a lot of value for you. Now, when you go into the Training Assignment Center here, you can actually deliver this in several different methods. You could have them just take the course right there on spot as they're sitting down with you. You could have this course emailed to them to be taken at a later date, or you could certainly print out their login instructions so that they can take it at their convenience as well. Whichever the 3 preferred methods you have, what is important that they do go through the training, okay? The other thing that I wanted to highlight on this for you also, Rich had mentioned earlier about, these are all our courses. We developed the content, the deliverables on it. They're all new. They're all constantly being updated. Any of these courses can be delivered through the latest modern browsers of a PC. They can also be delivered through a tablet. And because of the way we built these with HTML5, they can also be delivered via a smartphone, which we get a lot of feedback from our clients. In this day and age, a lot of times your employees aren't coming into the office every day, and that may be why you're not training them. We've eliminated that now. And we're really excited because here in a couple weeks at ASSE in San Antonio, we're actually going to be demoing and that we have now built these courses and optimized them and configured them that they will play seamlessly on a smartphone. So we're going to have more exciting announcements about that for you in the future, but there's not a person on this call today that should not have the ability to now train your employees with all the deliverable methods that we have for you. All right, so when you assign that course to an employee, they can log in through Driver's Alert. It's going to take them to the course. All these courses are designed to be attention-grabbing. They're interactive. They're engaging. There's not 1962 Chevy vehicles in these. These are all relevant, brand new courses that are designed to have your employees pay attention, learn from them, and apply what they've learned. Each one of these courses has a test session with it as well. So once the employee goes through this course and completes it, you equally will have this certificate of training showing your employee what course they took, when they took it, and did they successfully pass that course as well. Okay, back to your initial email again. The other one that I wanted to point out to you, again, I really hope you'll take advantage of the time and effort that we've put into providing you those online training courses, but in the event it is just not doable for you or in a certain situation, what I would recommend is you at least click on the driver's report here, okay? And when you click on that report, you can provide this to that employee. It's basically the initial incident report, but obviously we're going to omit the caller's name and phone number. The reason I would suggest that you use this is in the absence of being able to do the web-based training, it still shows the incidents that they were in violation of and what the suggested actions are. And as many times as you can have touch points with employees and re-emphasize safety, that's a victory for you. So again, if you cannot do the online web-based training, please do at least click and print out the driver's form so that you can have them read through this. That way, the next time they encounter that situation, they're better prepared to handle it. Okay, so let's just pause there for a moment. I gave you a lot of information. I hope a lot of you are already smiling and have learned a lot from that. It's a very simple, straightforward approach, but each one of those steps is extremely important in the overall success of the program for you. And that's why we designed it that way, and that's why we want to spend this time with you today, that you understood what's on a report, why it's on a report, what your roles and responsibilities and courses of actions are going to be, so that you can maximize the benefits of the program. What I'd like to do now, though, is show you what does that information produce. Unfortunately, I think a lot of clients think that's the end of the process and don't realize how we use that information to provide even greater value for you. So what I pulled up on screen here is if you logged into Driver's Alert, okay? Not through the initial email that's sent to you, but everybody should have admin access to be able to log into Driver's Alert, and based on your organization and the settings of what you have access to, you'll be able to see the vehicles you have direct control over. So this is an example of when you first log into Driver's Alert, welcoming you to the Driver's Alert web portal. We're going to focus specifically on How's My Driving risk-related events today, but just because Rich had prefaced it earlier for you, this is where the other products and services that our clients value us for are equally accessible. And that's one of the big values that we bring to the marketplace, is tying information and resources together for you so that you don't have to go to 4 different companies, 4 different websites, and try to match up information. You can do everything through your relationship with Driver's Alert, from running your initial MVRs for your pre-hires to the annual checks on them, to using our GPS telematics program, and obviously not only our corrective action training, but I would certainly encourage you to talk with your sales executives about our proactive training approach for new hires, continued education, or incident-based training as well. All right, so when you log in here, the first area that I would want you to focus on is incident type. You can select that from the home page. When you go into that incident type report, depending on the size of your organization, all of you, even if you're a single branch, would be able to see the overall statistics for the company. But then, you know, our clients that may have tens of thousands of vehicles and hundreds of locations, you equally want to be able to see what's going on at the location level versus a company as a whole. This is really important for you because this lets you know what is our risk as a company. Your drivers are telling us what they're having trouble with. So this helps you understand, well, what is our risk as a company? This is also very much vitally used for the organizations that do use our proactive training so that they know what that training schedule is going to look like, and especially with new hires, you know, if our current roster of employees is displaying all these areas of concern, it's logical to think our new employees are as well. So let's send them through these training courses before we even give them keys to the vehicle and set them out on the roadway. So again, when looking at the incident type report, you can see all the different categories that we provide information on and how many incidents you've had for that individual call, what percentage that represents as the organization as a whole. And when you're in the web portal itself, these are all live functional links. So if we were really concerned about speeding type events, you could just click on that speeding icon and it would pull up every single event that was directly related to that for you. All right. The other reason I want to talk about that is this is one of our proactive training courses, probably one of our most widely used proactive training courses, avoiding rear-end collisions. Rear-end collisions is absolutely the #1 loss claim for organizations year in, year out. In fact, on average, about 40% of the accidents occur each year are rear-end collisions. And rear-end collisions are usually attributable to 3 factors. Either distracted driving, somebody's being inattentive, not paying attention, which is what's causing them to rear-end someone, or tailgating, they're not allowing enough clearance for the vehicle in front of them, or it could be due to speeding. They're traveling too fast for conditions without proper clearance. Not coincidentally, those are 3 categories that we measure for you and are also 3 of the categories that are part of the corrective action training courses. So that is why, I really emphasize the value of using that training, because those 3 topics alone are going to have a profound impact on avoiding rear-end collisions. And, bar none, that is the #1 accident loss for all clients nationwide. All right. The other reports that I wanted to share with you that you'll get tremendous value out of, again, from your home page here, you can click on this call summary report. And when you click on that call summary tab, it's going to take you into, again, either your company as a whole or the individual locations. Now, this is really important also. We might have some executives on the phone today, and you may not be doing the day in and day out engagement of the drivers, but you absolutely want to set clear expectations for those field level supervisors as to their role and responsibility in this process as well. That's exactly what this report will do for you, that you can quickly and easily identify how many calls you have for a defined period of time, and are they filling out the response forms? And if they are filling out the response forms, are they doing that in a timely fashion? Some of the things that we talked about today. And equally, you can see when an event occurred, what the nature of the event was. This is a live link to take you right back to the initial email communication that we had with you, alerting you to this situation. This right here will show you whether or not they responded and how timely they responded, and you can click right into that to make sure that they're not just hitting click and save because they think that's the process, but that they take their time and actually engage with the driver and document all the steps they took in that 2-way communication. It will help you to know, did you identify who the driver was, and did you train them based on that event? Okay, so this is important for the field level supervisor, but super important for the executive level of an organization as well, to make sure that their field level supervisors are following through on the clear defined goals and policies and procedures that you've set for them as well. The last one that I want to share with you here, actually it's not the last one, let's say the next one that I want to share with you here. From your home page, you can click on Smart Risk. When you click on that tab, it's going to pull up the Smart Risk report here. And this was designed specifically for you to help you know who your high-risk drivers are, why they're your high-risk drivers, and what you're doing to address those situations. So you can run whatever time frame, whatever parameters you want. It's going to pull the data back for you so that you can quickly see who the employee is. And that's why when I was pointing out earlier the response form and identifying the drivers, that's not to make you do work. That's because of the value of what we can produce from it. If you don't input the driver's name, we can't tell you that Jeff Maiden's had 14 calls this year. That's why that's such a critical step for you, and that's why we wanted to walk you through each one of these steps so that you could see why that is important. But it's going to identify who the driver is, what location they reside in within your organization, how many calls or events they've had during the time frame, and these are all live links. You can go in to look at those call summary details. You could click on the employee's name to see their entire history. It's going to give you the ability to see, have you trained them on these categories? When did you train them? Did they successfully understand that topic? We had talked earlier about risk points and what was the value of risk points. Again, if you're using your own customized scoring system and you know what it takes to get to 8 points within your company, that's probably going to have a profound impact on what your level of engagement is going to be with this individual. And then this last action section here is equally populated from when you filled out that response form and you denoted, what did we do about this? So ideally, that's where you want to have those clearly written policies, procedures, escalation process. So if you go in here and you might have 50 branches throughout the country, anybody who had one call, we should see pretty uniformity, I think I made up a word there, uniformly rather, that everybody's taking the same action. If somebody's had 2 calls consistently across the company, we're taking the same action. That's where you have a true risk management program, much more above and beyond just putting a simple decal on the back of the vehicle for you. Now, what I equally wanted to share with you here from the home page is if we go into the Reports tab here, okay? So if we click on this Reports tab, it's going to take you into this view, and there's a few things that are really important to make life easier for you. One, you might want to be able to filter information. You might want to filter only where response forms weren't filled out, okay? This allows you the ability to do that. Now, taking a step back, one of the procedures we would put in place for you is a reminder time delay. So we talked about best practices, no more than 24 to 48 hours to respond to a call. Ideally, you'd like to do that same day. But let's say you don't do it within that time frame. We proactively are going to send that report back out to that supervisor, and that would typically be sent and copied in an escalation process to somebody else within the corporation. That way, eyes are on it, it gets addressed, but it also prevents the breakdown of communication because maybe Jeff Maiden's left the company and nobody's getting those reports. It allows us to make sure there's no interruption and flow of information and that you guys stay on the proper path. So again, you have the ability to filter where response forms were or were not filled out, and equally with the training. If you want to go back through those reports, you can identify, did we train them or did we not train them? And for the clients on the call today, just because those events occurred in the past, you still have the ability to go back to those reports today when we're done with this call, and you can assign those corrective action training courses to your employees. And I would really encourage that you seriously consider doing that for them. All right. Also from this, I think you guys can be extremely effective with the 3 reports we showed: the incident type report, the call summary report, and the smart risk report. But you might want to get super detailed. And the good news is we can help you analyze data and be as detailed as you want. So you can use this drop-down menu box here. I'm going to take you to a screen to illustrate that for you. And these are basically ad hoc reports that allow you to really dissect information from, based on our call volume. Is there a certain day of week that we're experiencing higher call volumes? Could be Mondays. People, just came back from the weekend. They've lost their focus and attention. Could be Friday afternoons. They're excited to get to their weekend, so they've lost their focus and attention. Could be based on you have different shift changes throughout the day, and so that's why we experience a higher call volume. But we give you those details that you can look at that in a very detailed manner. So day of week, you could break it down by time of day. You could break it down by weather, traffic, any number of the things that you see that we have pulled up on screen here for you. All right, and couldn't remember where I went here. Let's see where it takes me. That's what it was. Last thing that I wanted to show you as well. From that home page, Now, each one of you has your own dedicated sales executive that I'm sure would be more than happy to help you with any of this at any point in time, but you also have the whole entire Driver's Alert support team available to you. With that being said, from the homepage, you can also click on this help button here, and we've designed this entire online support center so that you can type in any questions. We've got tutorials, topics to help address that for you. Probably 90% of the questions you may have can be addressed through web services, but of course you've got the client support phone number here or your direct salesperson's phone number. If you can't find the answer to what you're looking for, please reach out to us so that we can assist you with that also. And that's really the conclusion of the technical piece of it today. You know, myself, certainly the whole Driver's Alert team, you know, we want to thank you again for joining. I really hope that each one of you will walk away today having learned something new that will help you achieve that zero accident safety culture that we talked about. But equally, you know, we very much value the relationships that we have with you and appreciate the feedback and suggestions that you provide us. We certainly hear each one of them. We review each one of them. And many of the enhancements that we've made over the years or that I was able to share with you today came directly from those suggestions that you provide to us. So we really want to thank you for that, you know, true partnership that we've developed with you. With that, I think Rich had some final thoughts today, so I'm going to go ahead and turn things back over to you, Rich, if you're ready.
Yeah, Jeff, thank you. I'll go ahead and show my screen again here. And hopefully everybody can see there. Okay. All right. Yeah. So just a quick recap of what Jeff Maiden covered today. First, he went through basically just the how am I driving process to really review how it works. And then throughout that presentation, really kind of revealing the hidden value, talking about the program statistics and what the program does behind the scenes that you don't really see on a day-to-day basis, so that you can understand how we get this information to you that's actionable and that you can really use to reduce incidents and injuries. Then he talked about the anatomy of a call report, went into detail of the various ways that you can respond to an incident, and then, of course, how to have that conversation with an employee. And then, of course, the corrective action training, including our 2 new courses, Driving Your Brand and Pre-Trip Inspections, which Jeff mentioned, as well as a quick mention about our e-learning that is now on the smartphone. And there will be more coming at the ASSE in a couple of weeks in San Antonio as we do our official launch for that. So it's a really exciting time for Driver's Alert and really helping to meet customer needs and being flexible in how we deliver e-learning to help close that loop. So as I mentioned earlier regarding questions, I did see many throughout the presentation. You still have some time if you'd like to use the online chat feature to send any of those questions about the How Am I Driving program. We are going to answer those individually via email, just for the sake of time. So please give us about 24 hours to respond, and we'll answer each and every one of those questions in their entirety. And just one final note. If you would like to contact us directly, you can do so at the number you see on your screen, as well as the email address provided. Probably, I think tomorrow we're going to be sending a follow-up email that includes a link to a survey to get your feedback about today's training session. We always look at that. Every single response, our management team always takes a really hard look at that, and it does pay off because the feedback is incorporated into future web presentations to continue to tweak and hone so that we can make sure that the information that we are providing you is essential and helps get more out of the products and services that you're using. We also include a link to a recording of this presentation in case you missed any pieces of it or you would like to see it again. And also there will be a link to our customer referral program. And so at this time, to close it out, I will announce the winner of the $25 Starbucks gift card. And the winner is Amanda Ehlers. And I hope I'm pronouncing your last name correctly, Amanda. It's spelled E-H-L-E-R-S, Echo Hotel Lima, Echo Romeo Sierra. So Amanda, congratulations on your gift card. We'll be sending that out this afternoon. And just wanted to keep you aware that we do topics like this on occasion from time to time, so we do look forward to your participation in the future with another live event. Do check our website frequently just to see what is coming around the corner. And I wanted to thank you once again for joining us today. Have a great rest of your day.